Tucker Carlson destroyed Ben Shapiro and many others. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Tucker Carlson's recent interview on Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar. Now, this show is usually hosted by Crystal Ball, who is married to Kyle Kulinski, and Sagar and Jetty. I think in this interview, it was just Sagar and Tucker. Now, at a certain point, they're talking about foreign conflicts, foreign wars, and Tucker Carlson really let Ben Shapiro and many others have it. Now, before we get into the video, I just want to say this. I have sympathy for all victims of conflict, of foreign war, whether you are Israeli, Palestinian, Ukrainian, Russian, whatever you are. I have sympathy for innocent people who are victims. However, I don't think it is the U.S.'s role, responsibility, or anything else to get involved with these conflicts. And I don't think I should be called anything else other than an American citizen and a patriot for having that point of view. All right. Look, I would love to lend charity to others. I'd love to be able to help the whole world. But is my responsibility? Must I do it? And how can we do a thing like this when we have serious problems here? We got drug addiction, illegal aliens, obesity, unhealthy. We got all kind of debt problems happening. We should be able to fix our issues first before we go try to save the whole world. Now, before I go any further, let's go ahead and get into the actual clip. If you want to see the entire interview, I will link to it in the box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on my website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Such an important point. And this is another thing too, I've always respected them most is, to a certain extent, I rejected the system early on, but you came up in it and you also openly gave them the middle finger, even while growing up next to them, living next to them for years. Yeah. I've watched it with Ukraine and I watch it now with Israel. I watched in particular, there was a lot of consternation around some comments you made, I think by Ben Shapiro and other.
Now, pause, fair use, Sagar, Crystal, the whole team over there, Breaking Points, don't give me a copyright here. But you hear what he's saying so far. Okay, foreign conflict, Israel, Ukraine, or whatever. Ben Shapiro made some points, and I think Tucker had an issue with what Ben Shapiro said. Let's keep on going.
Where you were like, well, I've never seen this level of care about Americans who are dying of fentanyl, which I think is a traditional nationalist message. And yet I've watched the entire kind of right-wing ecosystem get embroiled in fundamentally what is a third world conflict. Now, we can say support, not support, we can have criticisms, et cetera, of that. But what explains this like literal allegiance to narrative on Ukraine, on Israel? Why is it that so many of these people don't seem to have the same level of care for actual American citizens?
I find it really distressing. And in both of those conflicts, I approached it with a clean conscience because I just don't have strong feelings one way or the other. And I'm not hostile. I've never hated Ukraine. I don't have any feelings about Ukraine. And Russia, the same thing. I've never been to either place, and I'm not invested emotionally. So I could just look at it from an American perspective. In the case of Israel and the Arab world, I've spent a fair amount of time in both, and I like both. And I felt terrible for the people who were killed on October 7th. I still do. So I had no weird motive. I was just like thinking about it from an American perspective. Is this good for us or is it not? And I was just amazed by the intolerance and the willingness to immediately go to invective and character assassination. And it's like, I said, first of all, if the people who live in Gaza who are being moved out are so evil and dangerous that they can't live in the region, why would you want them to move into my country?
You know what? Let's pause right here. What he's saying so far makes a lot of sense. Why so angry and hostile and the character assassination, things of this nature? We're talking about foreign conflicts and politics and policy decisions. Why must it be so personal? Why is it not that way for other nations? What about this particular conflict makes it so special? Okay, some may love Israel, some may not love Israel, but your personal feelings and your heart and all that kind of stuff has zero to do with it. We're talking about politics, policy, and if these people in Palestine, Gaza, wherever, West Bank, if they're so bad and they got to get kept in the open air prison, they got to have apartheid because of the risk of terrorism, then what makes it make sense to bring them over here if they're so bad? So, like, what's really going on? Can we get down to the bottom of it? I'm just asking questions. I don't want to get called an anti-Semite for being curious about a foreign nation and their policy, especially when it affects us. Look, if they're over there doing whatever they want to do and they don't want to involve us, that's one thing. But you're getting us involved, and then I can't even have an opinion. I can't ask a question. I think that's incorrect. That's the wrong way to go. Let's keep on going.
I mean, what are you saying? They can't live there because it's too scary to live next to them, but they can live next to me? So I at that point, I felt very hostile about that because it showed such contempt for me and my family and my neighbors and my country. It is my country. That's how I feel about it anyway. It's all of our country. And so I was like disgusted by that. And I said so. And I don't know why that's weird. Why wouldn't I be offended by that? And then it was immediately, I'm a hater or a bigot or something like that. None of that registered with me because, first of all, I've been attacked for so long, but attacks that aren't true. If somebody said, wow, you've gained some weight this summer, I'd be like, oh, it would hurt my feelings because it's true. But if someone's like, oh, you're a hater, or you hate, that's not true. So I don't really care. But I did think it showed like the level of not just corruption, which I knew, but of like emotional instability and craziness. I mean, there are people, and I stopped reading any of it, but there are people on the right who have spent the last 2 months every single day focused on a conflict in a foreign country as our own country becomes dangerously unstable on the brink of financial collapse, with tens of millions of people who shouldn't be here in the country. We don't know their identities or the purpose of their being here. Like stuff that's could destroy the country for real and make it impossible for my kids to live here. They've said nothing about that, and they're focused.
That is 100% correct. Now, I understand some of these conflicts may hit home for certain people. Like Ben Shapiro, for example, obviously he's one of the people, he's one of the Jays. So if things fall apart here, you can go over there because he could just go, you got birthright. You might even be, you might be dual citizen, whatever. I don't know. I don't know the specifics, but I know he has birthright, okay, by being part of the team. But I don't have that, okay? I don't have another country just to go to. Where I'm going to go? Africa, where? I've been in America. My family been here since hundreds of years now. I'm an American. I'm not an expat. I'm not on a visa. I'm not a migrant. I'm not deracinated. I'm just an American. Where am I going to go? But again, if you have another place to go to, Ben Shapiro, then, hey, it's all good. I don't have that. Wherever I go, I'm a migrant, except for my native country right here in America. Let's keep on going.
Focused with laser intensity on foreign conflicts. And I'm like, at some point, I've got 4 kids. If I'm so caught up in the problems of my neighbor's children and completely ignoring my own children as they get addicted to drugs and kill themselves, I'm not against helping my neighbor's kids, but clearly I don't love my kids. I mean, that's the only logical conclusion. And they don't care about the country at all. And that's kind of their prerogative. But I do, because I have no choice, because I'm from here. My family's been here hundreds of years. I plan to stay here. Like, I'm shocked by how little they care about the country, and including the person you mentioned. And I can't imagine how someone like that could get an audience of people who claim to care about America, because he doesn't, obviously, right?
Right. Well, I mean, Tucker.
Now, again, I will link to this whole interview in the box. I don't want to play too much of it. I want to give breaking points with Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty their credit. So again, I'll link to the whole thing in the box. You see the title here. It says Tucker sounds off on Ben Shapiro, Israel, free speech, and UFOs. So that's that. Now, as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to Ben Shapiro. I'm not trying to attack Ben. I'm not trying to attack him, but I think some good points are made right there by Tucker. Look, you're focusing on this foreign country and their foreign conflict, but meanwhile, you're an American citizen, right? You live here, right? And I mean, so what are we talking about? That conflict really is their business. Why must it involve us so much? But again, if you have an allegiance to that country, if you're kind of part of that country, I understand. Like if I had a passport to another place, like let's say, for example, I was born in Nigeria and I still got my Nigerian passport and I go back there every summer and I can live there. And if I was to go there, I wouldn't be an expat, a migrant. I'd just be a Nigerian. Okay, then it makes sense for me to be concerned about Nigerian issues Maybe that's the issue with Ben Shapiro and many others. Okay. They can go over there and not be migrants. That's their second home. So a conflict happening in their second home or first home, whatever you want to say, country, for them to be preoccupied with that makes sense. But then when it starts getting into the attacking others because they're not as concerned as they are, now we got a problem. If a Nigerian guy is worried about Nigerian issues, okay, I get it, cool. But then when they want to attack me for not sending my money, if I had kids, sending my kids to go get deleted over there, and they want to say I'm somehow a racist or a bigot, it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's your country, ain't my country. I'm focused on my country first. I would love to help everybody in the world. I would love to be some type of philanthropist that had every dollar. I give everybody everything, but that's just not reality. I focus on the most important thing, the most pertinent thing, where I live, my country, where I was born, where I was raised, where my whole family is, not a foreign nation that has nothing to do with me or specifically this country. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what Tucker Carlson said here? Do you think that he's correct, incorrect? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think he's right on point. Nothing against Ben Shapiro, nothing against anybody that is focused on what's happening over in Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia. Hey, nothing against y'all, but check it out, man. We have issues right here we got to deal with first. And if you're so preoccupied with that to the point where you want to attack others who are not as preoccupied as you are, now we got a problem. I don't like that. I don't think that is appropriate to do right here in the good old US of A, when the last time I checked, everybody's commenting on it. We're all U.S. citizens, so what's really going on? Don't attack me for not being worried about some other place more than I am my own home country, especially when it's your country as well, or at least it should be. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.